that you are sitting with a nice cup of tea right where you are, because definitely we are going to celebrate in these beautiful porcelain cups our tea this day, and I want you to enjoy this because we are going to talk about the wonder and how you stay in the wonder of being married. Now, it's not always that easy. We all know that. Hey, there's no such a thing as a perfect marriage, but there are perfect days. And so we are going to celebrate a little bit on the wonder of being married. Let me introduce you to my wonderful panel here on the left. I've got Sonika. She's the newlywed here amongst us. And then we've got Cindy. Cindy is married into a interracial, that's the word I'm trying to think. And Charlene is a very clever girl. She's a school principal, so that makes us, I think maybe she's 42. No, 40.
40.
And two, I want to say. So let's hear from them. Charlene, will you just greet everybody and explain why you think the wonder of marriage is important?
Wow. Well, I'm Charlene Rademacher, as you heard. You know, wonder of marriages is for us very important because that's when you reflect and you've got somebody that you can celebrate your life with. Nobody wants to go in life alone. So for me, it's about celebrating those key moments that you can't celebrate with other people. So that's what I think.
What do you say, Cindy? How is it to be married to another kind of race and married and stay in the wonder of marriage?
Being married interracially is actually, it's quite a different thing. I never realized that I'd be the one that would do that. And it can become hard to stay in the wonder, but it isn't impossible.
Yep, and Sonika, just married the other day, and you have a baby that's almost bigger than you. Sonika, which is easy. You're such a tiny person. I hope you can see her. Sonika, what is it like to be married and still having the dream of your dreams in your life?
Well, to be honest with you, I have my moments that I feel like I would love to do something more with my life, something more including my husband. But yeah, it's a challenge. I must say.
Being married to all of us has been such an amazing thing, and I'm sure there's some of you that say, yeah, I can say what she's saying, it's a challenge, and I can hear what Cindy is saying, and I know what Charlene is saying, and I've been married now for a whole 44 years and going to my 45th year in December, and I can tell you in my 45 years of being married to Charlotte, there has been a ministry. I'm in the ministry full-time, being married to Charles, because you know what? I remember my wedding day, and I do remember gathering the things for my marriage and for the wedding day. Charlene, by the way, tell us about your wedding day.
Why would we talk about my wedding day? It was great, but the hair was a disaster.
Oh, no.
And then when I walked down the aisle, the flowers were wrong. They put, I don't know who decided on yellow daisies. Yellow daisies, and I can remember, oh, I hope nobody's listening. But it was yellow daisies with this purple and pink strik wat so op. Oh, that was verschrikkelijk. But I was so excited becoming a wife. I think when you're young, you have this romantic idea what marriage is going to be like. You can have this person, they're going to take you away and everything's going to change. But being married in the time frame that I'm 18 years this year, dis baie lank jong.
Wow.
Ek kan nou al amper 20 wees. Dis lank. It's a hele leeftyd. But when I walked down the aisle and I saw my husband, I was so taken up by the moment. And we forget there's that moment that you're taken up. But when marriage really starts, and you start, you've got different opinions and values, that's when it really starts becoming a choice. Because you can fall in love with somebody like that.
Yes, I agree.
But the values, if it's very different, that first 5 years, 10 years, jy moet 'n medalje kry as jy dit maak.
I agree with that. And I mean, if I can just bring in Rian and I actually met online. So now you're reading whatever they send you via whichever medium. It can be on a computer.
What was it? Mix-It?
No, it wasn't Mix-It. But we didn't have Mix-It back then.
Dis lank terug, jong.
And so then you're reading this words that somebody else wrote in their tone and context, and you're reading it, the same words in your tone and context. And then you meet and you get together and you realize his tone was a little different when he typed that out.
Yeah, sure.
So it is a big deal when marriage really starts and you realize we are different people. We have different upbringings.
Backgrounds,
We have different values. We have different views on what the future.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Family, children,
everything.
money,
Where the teacup
Even-
goes. Everything.
even the paint on the wall, the scattered cushion. Oh, and the toilet roll.
Oh, the up and the down.
Still don't know what the answer is about the
It's a
toilet roll.
scientific answer, actually.
Especially the clothes that's lying on the bathroom floor when you actually want it in the bathroom
Next to.
next to the bag. But yeah,
It's
I
quite
love
a
my
challenge
husband.
if you think of it. Now, if we go through the challenges,
Yeah.
these little nitty-gritty things, they can actually irritate you so. But Sonika, do you recall your wedding dress?
To be honest with you, anytime.
Is it a beautiful
Anytime.
dress?
Yes, it's got a tail, to be honest, and it goes wide out, and it's a boob tube with a lot of beads and glitter and everything on. So
Was it your
yeah,
Sounds
dream dress?
amazing.
yes, it was my dream dress.
Heavy?
It was heavy. Later the night, I just felt I just want to get rid of the dress because it's getting heavy. And when it came to the dancing and everything, my husband kept on stepping onto it and everything. And my one cousin had to take her. Luckily, she had a needle work with her, so she had to needle my dress up at the back and everything because it got half torn at the back. So yeah, I had experience with the dress.
But now just think of this. We know of a lady that just recently died, and we know of men that died, and it's not a nice feeling. But just yesterday we were talking about it. Why do we want to celebrate somebody when they're dead? Why don't we just take the time to celebrate them? Because you know what we do? We all do this. We all celebrate somebody once they're dead, and we say, what a beautiful person and such a great provider and lovely, so much fun to be around. But while they are alive, we only see the things that's not nice. It's the things that are challenging, the things that are the laundry. The
Yeah.
teaspoon, people, you have no idea what a teaspoon looks like in my house. When a teaspoon is used to stir the coffee, it does not go where the teaspoon should go. It goes to somewhere there. And it leaves a mark right there. And the problem is, you can make that such a big issue in your life. So how do I celebrate the good things and sort of ignore the bad things? How is it possible to celebrate the good things?
Somebody once said to me, make a cup of tea. Walk away, make a cup of tea.
Good advice. I
And-
wonder who that was.
Drink some op daai persoon.
Walk away, make a cup of tea, exhale, and then when you're feeling better, go back. And that is very good advice. Thank you, Tannie Marianne, for your very good advice.
My advice for everybody, by the way.
And even if you feel like you want to throw the cup at him, you focus on making tea. Change the focus on making tea. Inhale, exhale, and then Tannie Marianne's lovely husband said to me, do the unexpected. He expects for you to fight and your temper to be up there. Come back and smile and say, would you like a cup of coffee as well? It catches him off guard, and then it's over.
Yeah.
And I think that's maybe a very, very good piece of advice that you can give. What would you say when you feel that tightness in your house, Sonika?
Well, to be honest, me and my husband's got this rule in the house. If he's angry with me, then he knows for a fact that he needs to just go into another room or just do his own thing and just calm down. And then after a while, then he comes to me and then he'll speak with me and he'll tell me, but you did that wrong. Can you please do it the other way? Or can you maybe think about before you do that? And it's the same with me. If I get angry with him, I just... I leave the room and I just calm down and I say, Lord, please help me. How do I handle this situation? I don't know how to approach it over to him so that without a fight. So, yeah.
I like that, Sonika, because there are times when we sort of sweep it under the rug.
Yeah, no,
and we
it
don't
is.
actually come back and talk about it. So I
Yeah.
really like that, but that's the rule. You come back and say, this is what went wrong, this is what I didn't
Yeah.
like. Could you maybe do it a different way?
Yeah.
But it's true what you say, we can't always ignore, but you know, the success in life actually depends on how many of these things you can choose to
Yeah.
ignore. And I think often in life we are thinking that I have to fix everything. Charlene, you've learned that you cannot fix nothing.
What I've learned in marriage is that we come in with these expectations, and we've got our strong will and opinion, but so do they. Husbands walk in with the same expectation. So everybody has got an expectation and they want it met. And sometimes you've got this exceptionally high expectation. So if it is, for instance, it's the same in my house, there's always laundry next to the basket. It's a simple thing, and you can have the biggest fight. Just pick it up. There's no point in actually arguing about it. And I don't actually call it fighting. I call it intense moment of fellowship.
Oh, wow.
Because it gets very heated. If we're going to be honest, I actually left my husband, and I've never really told people. I left him for us. We were separated for about 5 months because I had to make a decision. And a lot of people resort to, I'm going to get divorced. That's it. I've had enough. And it's sad. The reality is that's what we do. When we get angry, we only see what we see. We do not see what they see. And it took me time just to reflect and see, you know what, this person, that's why I say celebrate. My gran actually had this. She said, Charlene, doesn't matter what happened, you can get somebody else. But you will never be able to discuss those moments with that person.
Yeah.
Your husband saw you at your worst. He saw you when you were pregnant. He saw you when you were giving birth. That moment that you have, you're never going to have again. And I said to myself, it's not worth it to sit here on my high horse and think I'm going to fix it. I can't fix it. And then I made choices. And when we came together, he's still not going to always agree with me. To be honest, that is very idealistic. It's not always going to happen in my household. In my household, it's the fight gets really bad the moment. But what I've learned to do is I found things that we do together. And so that's why we did Ironman. We did it because we both like to exercise. And I make a point. I know when he needs to go for a walk because he's stressed. I know the trigger points. I know where I have to back off. Because my personality is very strong. So I can easily win a fight, throw a door and throw a cup. And I've done that too. Not my proudest moment. But truth be told, the way you win an argument is not by fighting. The way you win an argument is actually by just keeping quiet, give the moment, and then when you actually reflect, then you actually say, you know what, that fight wasn't worth it.
Yeah.
It wasn't worth it. And at the end, for me, it's creating more happy memories than looking at all the bad things. So, he doesn't wash the dishes. Oh, well, then we'll wash the dishes. It has to be done. But there's other things he does. And then I make a point of looking at it. But it's easy for us to get into that trap of seeing only the negative. And unfortunately, the world doesn't portray a very good picture for us. Because they say, if you don't have the in love feeling, then it's time to go. There's no such thing of being in love. It doesn't exist. It's a choice. You wake up in the morning, you look at that person, and yes, they've got flaws, but so do you. Vaderland, ek het baie. And one thing about my husband, if I think about him, hy maak my kwaad. Verskriklik kwaad. Maar he chooses me every day. He chooses me every day. He chooses me when I pick up weight, when I lose weight, when my hair is ugly, when I wake up with a bad breath. He'll remind me about it. But he still chooses me every day.
That's nice.
Listen, if that is something that you've got, I would hold on to it. I would pass the, if you could worship it.
So how would you choose then, Cindy, to go over the humps in the road?
How would I choose to go over the humps in the road? Firstly, I'd have to know which humps to avoid and which humps to,
that's clever.
to sit
I like that,
and talk about, because really we can't do blow by blow every little thing. That's not humanly possible, and it's just not good for us either. There are times when I sit back and I'm quiet. Well, it's not often. It's not often. Where I sit back and I'm quiet and I internalize. And then there are times when I like spit fire.
Moenie koppies gooi nie.
But then, you know, making the decision between when to address it and when to internalize and pray about it and just try to neutralize about it is I draw that line when I start feeling
Out of control.
yes.
Because that is a dangerous place. I just want to point this out. One time I got really angry. My mom knows about it. And I went into the bedroom and I slammed the door because we do that too. It's very nice to slam doors. I've broken cell phones too. You know when you're angry? I'm sorry. If I'm the only one. I do apologize. Yeah, there was a baie. I'm not like that anymore. I've evolved. But I slammed the door en ek begin bid. Liewe Jesus.
Hardop.
Ek bid vir daai man. Maak hom reg. Fix hom. Ek het so hard gebid, nee, ek het gesê, Here, hy wil nie vir my luister nie. Vandag ek bid van ek het so hard gebid. Okay, I don't know who got iedere keer. Hy het geworry nie. It made me feel better. I walked out there, I felt like I've got my arm off God. It's actually a Rise weekend that I did that. So I think we have to do things
Yeah, no.
to calm ourselves down.
Yes.
Do what you have to
When
do.
it's
Go
out
for
of
that walk.
control,
Ja.
step
Jy weet
away,
wanneer hy
gain
gaan gebeur.
control, yeah.
Or rather
But
leave the
Cindy said-
room.
Ja,
sorry.
leave the room.
Or rather leave the room before something can become bigger than it's supposed to be.
Just leave,
Yeah.
So, what about sulking? How often when we don't get our way, we go into a sulk? And you cannot keep the wonder of your marriage or even the wonder of your own life because honestly, I think we need to wake up and smell the coffee. We all are growing and we're all in processes of our own lives. And I said to my husband, the sad part is when you lose a loved one, you have to suddenly look just at yourself. You've got nobody else to blame. You cannot even say they didn't cook properly because you're the one that's cooking. You know, you're the one that's cleaning. The whole focus now rests upon your shoulders, and suddenly you realize, but the value of that person was actually amazing. Like Charlene just said, he chooses her every day, and I know Cindy's spoiled because Rian cooks amazingly that he really knows how to cook. And I know that Sonika's husband is a real spoiler. He adores her. He thinks she's the coolest. But, you know, Shah also, my husband, believes that she is too. Not that the other girls aren't beautiful. We are all very beautiful.
Die hart. Just because she's not 40, that's why. Sy moet nog groei.
That's funny. Yeah, you have to be 40 to really understand. I think. But the point is we have to grow in ourselves. And I think getting married, it's not the wonder of the wedding dress. It's not the wonder of the ceremony. It's not the wonder of the first night. It's not the wonder of the first year. It's the growing in yourself that is so important. So how did you, in this season, grow in yourself, Sonika?
Well, to be honest with you, I had this thing my parents always taught me, that we must always discuss everything with each other. And in the beginning of my marriage, every private thing me and my husband discussed at home, I went to my parents and I discussed it with them. And after a while, it was like a family disruption and everything, because everything I told my parents, it reflected onto my husband. And to be honest with you, I actually learned through the years how what to do in my marriage, like, and not to discuss my private stuff with my family, because the moment I discuss it with my family treat my husband otherwise. So, and you actually want them to treat him with love, but they just have negative stuff of him on that time, and then
Yeah.
it
And
just
then
makes
you
it
fall back
good,
in
that's
love,
right.
and you forgive
Exactly.
everything, and then they still have this thought of
or they're
But
carrying it
they
the whole
carry it,
time
that's
with
right.
them through half of the marriage, and then
Yeah,
it makes the disruptions between you and him. Yeah.
Sure,
And
that's powerful.
I think one of the biggest, when I went through my most difficult time in my marriage, one of the mistakes I made is I shared everything with my friends. And then you get this advice
Yeah.
that is not godly.
Yeah.
And that's usually puts you in a path that is not a good path.
Yeah.
And so I had to learn that as well. And that's
Yeah.
and lucky you learned it now.
Yeah.
It took me a while.
Yeah.
Because I realized I don't have to. Sometimes it's a
Yeah.
case of you have to actually deal with what happened. You don't have to share with the whole world. And some
Yeah.
things you can actually deal with. By
I must
yourself.
say that the time when I actually realized that it has to stop was one night that we visit Pastor Matt and Elena, and we had like a couple's day. Auntie Marianne and Shaw, they came to Elena's house. And they discussed about marriage. I can't remember. I don't know if you can remember.
Yes.
And one thing I won't forget. One thing Auntie Marianne said that you must always keep your private stuff that's discussed between you and your husband for yourself and not involve your family. And after that night, I climbed in the car and I told my husband that I totally understand why. Exactly now I have to keep our private stuff that we discuss for myself. And then after a while I just said, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It was something that I was used to doing and now I have to let it go. So yeah.
Sure, that's quite
Yeah.
hectic.
Yeah.
Cindy, you never had that problem. You just tell the world on Facebook. No, never. You never do. You never do.
Share.
I need to, yeah.
I think, by the way, that is maybe a good thing. Never ever share things on Facebook. I mean, telling your parents on Facebook's the same thing.
Yeah, no, it
Even
is.
worse.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
A growth point for me was definitely the same kind of thing as you said, Zonika. I got to this point, and very late in my life, age-wise, but early in my marriage, where I realized that my parents' opinion and the way they would have done something or their advice is not always going to sit right
Yeah.
for my marriage
Yeah.
and where I am. And that was very, very hard for me because my dad he was the one that made the right decision every time. And so he was the one that I was going to get advice from. And when I realized that sometimes that is not how it is and it's not how it's going to work, that was a huge growth point for me.
Well, I just think that we are seeing amazing sides to keeping the wonder, because it's not about just being in love, but there are definitely days that you feel in love. I mean, let me put it like this. There are days that you are in love, there are days that you are just married, and then there are days that you literally just want this man around you. Those are the cool days, and that's the good days we need to cash in, because you can actually go to the shop then
And literally,
and cash in. But when you have those really I feel in love with this man days, because obviously the Bible talks we need to respect our husbands.
Yeah.
So respect, I'm talking about respect, but that in love, you know that when I look at him I think, you hunk. I like being around you. What do you do in those days, Charlene?
Yeah, what do we do? What do we do? What do you do? You're married. You're allowed. Yeah, well, we are being honest here. It's so important those days that you remember them. When we talk about, I'm just bringing it back to the Bible, when Jesus had his Last Supper and he said, do this in remembrance of me. So those days are so important. I've got a go-to for myself is journaling. I journal like crazy. I journal when I'm happy and I journal when I'm sad. Sometimes the pen gets really hard when I'm angry. But on those good days, I journal it because we forget the good days. We
Yes.
forget because when we're angry, I don't know why, we're prone as possibly as women to go to the negative side, and only because we compare to what other husbands are doing. Big mistake, because they don't do the same. So that's why we take photos. You won't ever see really splash too much on Facebook. Those are photos, and when those days when you have bad days, I go through those. Oh, look at this. Hi, is it reg? Oh, look, and then. For instance, one thing my husband and I do, we go for walks, and it's the best if we do Friday nights and the children go to Granny. best. I love it. I love it a lot. Because then we get to snuggle up and do things that we can't do when the kinders raak nou bietjie groot. So they've changed a lot. They know too much. So we have to be clever about these things. And then we make a point of doing things for us. And we create it because one day the children aren't going to be there anymore. And then we've got each other.
Can't just focus on children, yeah.
And romance is not about bold and the beautiful, dressing up. I was laughing because I was saying to her before, when we were dressing up, ek hoop hy vat jou uit met daai mooi rok. En sy sê, maar ons gaan. But going out isn't necessarily wearing high heels and putting on. Going out could just be going for a walk. For me, dates is in the early morning when we walk. I love walking with my husband. It's like a special thing. That is special
That
to
is
me.
wonder.
Doing dates and going to a restaurant is great, but I want to save money, so that is not going to be enjoyable. For me, if I can save money in my house, that is a better deal. I would rather save money in my house. So I think people will stop comparing marriages because maybe one person, they do it that way. You don't have to do it that way.
You know what we do, Charlene?
Yeah.
We, my sister will take the kids, not very often, but once in a while she'll take the kids.
It's a good day.
And it's a good day when that happens. And then we will bring a mattress into the
That's a good
TV
day.
room. And Rian will make, like, yes, he's a really good cook, so he'll make, I'll go buy the stuff that I want him to make. So the last time we had mussels and I know, and prawns and rib fingers. It was really nice. But we bring the mattress into the TV room and we sit and have all those awesome snacks. We'll sometimes be clothed, sometimes not. And then we censored. And then we catch up on series. We
love that too.
We watch New Amsterdam from start to finish until like 3 o'clock in the morning. That is our date night.
Sure.
That is our doing, you know, being
Don't
special.
compare. Don't compare.
I must say, my date night that we normally have at is I'm taking my little one to my mother, and then getting into the car and just buying a coffee and just driving wherever the road takes us.
Dis lekker.
And then later the night we go fetch my little one. So yeah.
Well, this is amazing, and I think honestly it's time that we start saying to ourselves, let's not celebrate when it's too late. And of course, we're not talking in this conversation about abuse. We're not talking about the things that should be handled by the police. We're talking about average struggles. And we all will face these things because we are human beings. And I'm sorry to say, lady, I know, girlfriends, you are watching and you think, oh, but you're not married to my husband. But you know, I'm thankful I'm not married to you either. Because the joke is none of us are perfect and we are all full of our own ideas and plans. But the secret is in defining, and I like what these girls have just told us, those special days, celebrate them, make them big. You know, if you can print that photograph, put it on your fridge and always say to yourself, that day was a special day. And I know there are special days and many more to come. And in my 45 years, I can tell you, I thank God for every special day that I've had to celebrate with my husband. Of course, we've had some bad days. I mean, goodness me, we can just go tick, tick, tick. But they're not important as you get older anyway. They're not important. So I just want everybody to celebrate out there. Go back into the wonder. Think about the day you got married. Think about the day you fell in love. That gooey feeling when the butterflies was everywhere. Think about the wonder of your coming together. Because remember, when you came together, there was Jesus. And He is the Prince of Peace. He is the one that loves you. And ultimately, that wonder is part of His joy. He enjoys it when you are happy. And then choose to ignore. Just choose to ignore the things that you cannot fix. Nobody will be able to, you know that there's no law against ignoring, eh? But if you ignore the robot, I just want to say that our time is running totally out. We've got 40 seconds left. A sentence from you, Charlene.
Oh, one sentence. A good point. If you have lost the wonder, go get those love songs, your love songs, play them. It will make you remember, it will put that happiness.
Oh, okay.
I'm a total Westlifer because of my husband. I love Westlife and it reminds me of my husband.
Yeah.
And it puts that moments when we had good moments.
Cindy?
I, like you said, Danny Marianne, I think of the wedding day. And my wedding day to this day is still the best day I've had in my life. I loved my venue, I loved my dress, I loved my husband. And when I go back and think about that, then I realize why I'm here and how happy I was to make that decision and to keep making it. I want to keep on making that decision. Yes.
Yeah. I'll say it's, I also think about my wedding a lot. The nice time that we had when it was photo shoots and all the jokes we made and everything while we're busy having the wedding and everything. So yeah, I must say I miss it. I'll have it every day if I can, to be honest.
I think as ladies, we are basically romantics. But if you're not, you need to cash in on this, play this over and over again, choose to be in the wonder of who God has intended for you to be and what He planned for you. Well, cheers, ladies. Let's have a wonderful teacup cheer here. Yeah. God bless you all. And as you drink your tea where you are at home or wherever, choose the day.